We'll talk about the 3-day thing. We'll talk about new to Princeton. We'll just chat and hopefully this works.
Oh, yeah.
All right. All right, here we go. Let's give this a shot. All right, here we go. All right. Welcome back, John. It's nice seeing you.
Yeah.
You were well, so this is live. We're going to talk about the Princeton offense, but I'm going to talk to him before we do this because it was funny. You were texting me and I was literally on a walk, and it's like, oh, do I stop the walk and respond? And I did real quick, like
family before we go do our fun stuff.
Yeah, before we do that, I know I was trying to get some every day. I've had a walk every day since the beginning of the pandemic, March 13th, every day with my dogs every day. Like yesterday was miserable because it was raining. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about. I'm super excited. I know a lot of my Teach Hoops members have been like emailing me and stuff all week.
The Facebook group is getting real active. So everyone who's gone and registered and gotten in the Facebook group, they're all posting, saying, "Yeah, hey, I'm new. Hey, I run a little bit of this, a little bit of that." But there's a lot of chatter in there, and I'm starting to add units, kind of like little homework assignments, so that when we start next Tuesday, what is Tuesday the 15th? So when we start on the 15th, everyone's going to have their player personnel thing filled out. They're going to have their schedule filled out and see how many games are we really the underdog? How many, realistically, what do we think our win-loss is going to be?
Right.
What do we have to do? Because the one angle that I take that I don't hear a lot of coaches talking about is they talk about, what offense works best for our kids or what defense do we need to run? But they're not. I think the right question you have to ask is, how are we going to win the games that we're not really supposed to win that's on our schedule? You might be the underdog in half of your games. How many of those can you really win? Because that's the games that you should win. If you show up and you're focused and you're disciplined and you execute the way you should. If you don't play down to the level of competition, you should win those games. But how many games on your schedule, are you similar or even, and how many are you really the underdog? And if you are the underdog, what's your plan to win those games? Because I just don't know. My philosophy is I don't think I can show up running the same offense as a team that's better than me. And, if it's a ball screen offense or if my small school is running read and react versus your school running read and react, you're going to beat me. So we have to have a strategy how we're going to beat that team that's better than us.
Right. So they've been kind of DMing me. I think you have a lot of new coaches and they're a little freaked out. So explain because there's this old dog over here that's a little freaked out about the Princeton too. That's the whole reason we got connected. So
you did that poll. What offense do you guys like to run? I think Princeton was like 4 or 5.
Yeah, it was, and then I put Princeton in there, and they
it doesn't surprise me. So I've done that poll before once in my Facebook, and I think I said, which offense would you like to run the most? And sometimes I would get more ticks on Princeton because it's intriguing, but there's not a lot of info. There's no one that's really teaching it out there, and that kind of goes back just to the core guys that Pete Carrill and Carmody and Joe Scott, John Thompson III, the core guys. Their philosophy is with this offense is they would not share it with anybody. In a perfect world, they wanted no one else to run it but Princeton. And because it was their competitive advantage that lets them, win the Ivy League and then go into the NCAA and actually compete and be that Cinderella team that goes in and really has that extra gear that they can kind of that little secret thing that they can go in and compete with those better teams. When I started coaching, when I finally learned it and became a head coach, I was that way too. I didn't want to share it with anybody. I have a playbook, and when I had the playbook at the time, I would not even give the playbook to my assistant coaches, thinking that if they were going to go somewhere the next year, they've got my playbook. They were going to learn on the floor like the players and everyone else. So I was that way too. So that's one of the reasons why this offense isn't out there and as popular is because coaches just don't know enough to run it.
Right. Well, that's our goal is to change that. So let's say I'm a youth coach. Let's say I'm a new high school coach, and literally I can give you out of a 10 hours in a week, I can give you an hour. Can I do it? Can I do it if I'm a youth coach? Can I do it if I don't have the time to do
I
it?
like it a lot. 6th grade up is my favorite, but I think you can, once you get
Why
down,
why did you pick
there's a
that?
lot more when the lower level you get, and I'm not around the youth as much. You might be able to help me out a little bit on this a little bit more. But the passing is probably one of the most difficult skills at the 3rd grade, 4th grade level.
A lot of things.
And there
Walking.
there's less dribbling and more passing in Princeton. So I like it 6th grade up. Everyone, chin is the most popular, most well known.
Right.
And I think the reason is because it's the one series you can run as a continuity. So the youth programs that do run Princeton, they're going to run a lot of chin.
Okay.
You get that shuffle screen and you get that drift screen, and then you get the drive off of that.
Okay.
So I think at least 6th grade up, maybe even 5th grade can run chin and up. And we ran it in our middle school. Our middle school ran chin. They didn't run anything else. And then our freshmen ran a little bit of our low post, a little bit of our point, our counter from our point series, and they ran chin. And our JV ran a little bit more than that, and our varsity had the entire playbook. And
Okay.
And so I would actually, as a varsity coach, because it's kind of tricky because, how let me ask you, so does your varsity run the same offense as your freshman JV?
A JV for sure. Freshmen, I sometimes give them a little bit more freedom depending. It's so hard to find freshman coaches now, but I've got some good ones. So yeah.
I always, when we're watching freshman JV before the varsity game, we're always like, now we have our scouting report. We've seen them. We know what they're going to run. And when we see the JV doing the same thing, I'm looking at my guys, say, hey, that's the same thing they do. That's what we're working on in practice.
Right.
One of the things I like doing with Princeton, with my JV freshmen, is I would have them run it a little bit differently. Instead of going back door, they would come get a handoff. And then when the varsity steps on the floor and the other team was watching the JV run it, and we go set that same screen, when we go back door, and they caught off guard a little bit. So there's so much neat stuff you can do with it. But one of the big misconceptions is it's complicated, and it can be complicated, but you can actually simplify it. Again, just like you said, so where a middle school or youth programs can run it, and you can run it that same way. You can run it the same way, simplified for your youth team as you can your varsity, and have the same amount of success with it.
Okay. So explain what the 3 days is going to look like. So let's say I did sign up, but let's say I signed up. What can I expect on the 3 days?
So this is kind of really cool. And I promise you, I cannot teach you the entire offense in 3 days. I actually, the first time I taught this, I taught the entire thing to a group of coaches. It actually took me about 6 weeks, and I didn't get through everything that I wanted to get through. But this is going to be a 3-day, very intense breakdown of everything you need to know to get the foundation in.
It's the Cliff Note version, Spark Note version. Yes.
It's an advanced Spark Note version, but
okay.
We're going to get the foundation in, and then there's, again, once I start getting down the rabbit hole, Alice, that's when it takes a little bit more time. But on day one, we're going to talk about concepts. So I know I made a video, and you put that on your YouTube channel. It's really important. Princeton, they're just a little bit different on things. They don't teach triple threat and with their skill stuff. They don't teach triple threat. They're going to stand up and catch it and pass. They don't do one-handed passes. They do a lot of two-handed chest passes. They don't talk about dribbling the ball low. They want their guys standing up and playing tall. So these are a lot of like skill work concepts. But the one that we talked about on that video was being open versus getting open. We don't V cut in Princeton, and everyone's taught how to V cut from the very first time they step on the court with whether it's in the 3rd grade or the middle school, everyone's V cutting.
And why don't you V cut?
And that goes to the core problem. When you're playing a team that is bigger, faster, stronger, and that's why they put Princeton together, is to compete against those teams. But if I'm on the wing and I'm 6 foot and the kid guarding me is 6'2", or maybe 6 foot, but he's 3 seconds faster than I am in a 40. He's just quicker, more athletic. Right. And my coach is going to ask me to V cut and get open against that kid.
Right.
Even if I'm a tough kid, I was a tough player. Even if I'm tough, I can't. I'm not faster than that kid. Maybe I'm 6 foot and the kid guarding me is 6'3". You want me to V cut or L cut and or pin and pop against that kid? That's, I'm going to lose that one-on-one. And at the same time I'm losing that battle, they've got someone pressuring our point guard, and the point guard's got to time that up the same time that I'm almost got a split second open. That point guard is being pressured. And if that point guard can't time it the same way that's when they start to throw that pass. They got to bring it back and the ball dribbles off their foot. And so we don't like getting open. We don't want to fight our opponent's strengths.
Okay.
So what we do, something real simple, is we just get off the 3-point line, 5 feet, 6 feet. And that defender's like, you're going the wrong way. You can't score from there. Go ahead, catch it, whatever. And all we want to do is just throw the first pass so we can start our offense.
Okay.
And in that way, it simplifies things. We don't have to fight their strength to start our offense. We don't have to fight their strength within we don't have to fight their strengths within the offense when we're cutting and screening and all of that. We want to take the tension out of the game.
Okay. Okay. So that's day one is concepts. What's day two?
Concept. Yep. So, and then day two is going to be the X's and O's. So day two, we're going to talk about the core 4 sets. And if you browse around the internet, a lot of coaches are saying there's three sets that make the foundation, and they'll tell you it's low post, chin, and point. I throw in the open series. It's an open post, and for me, those are the core 4. If you've got a 5-man that can pass the ball, if you're going to play small ball, you must run the open series, and that's one of the series that a lot of coaches omit and they don't talk about when they're running Princeton. And I think that is vital, especially if you play.
Well, it is, especially in high school, because a lot of times, and the way the games change too, if nothing else.
Yeah. I mean, the kid's skill level it's kind of like a Steph Curry phenomenon. You've got this short kid in the NBA that just can light it up from everywhere. Very skilled. It's kind of a phenomenon where now everyone wants to handle the ball like Steph. Everyone wants to shoot the ball like Steph. So those younger kids are seeing that, and now they're working on their game more. They realize what they have to do to make those moves and make those shots. So the skill level is rising, and that's also a good thing for Princeton coaches. Their younger guys are going to be more skilled and more ready for their offense. So
then hold on, let me give because somebody just texted me. Let me give you the URL. It's www.teachhoopsprinceton.com if you want to do this. All right. Then day 3 is what?
So day 3 is the last day. So day 1 we're talking about the offense and concepts. Day 2 we're getting into the nitty gritty, the X's and O's. And also day 2 we're going to talk about how to manipulate the defense. So if you're watching the NBA, really focus on where the help side is and the spacing, and where the 3-point line is.
Right.
And in college, that 3-point line is a little bit closer. All right. And the defense is a little more packed in, but at the high school level, you're really packed in. So we're going to talk
too packed in. We've had this discussion.
I think that 3-point line needs to be extended to the high school level so you can spread the game out a little bit. I would love to see an NBA team go pure Princeton now. It would I don't know how you would guard it because there's no help side. But day 3, we're going to talk about your players. So a lot of coaches think that, okay, hey, I love the offense. Day 1, they're going to say, hey, I love the offense. Day 2, they're going to say, okay, I see the core 4. I can put those in. We can run those. I've seen the X's and O's. But a lot of coaches get hung up saying, well, my players aren't good enough. My players aren't smart enough. Some coaches will even say my players are too good. I can't sell them on this offense.
Right.
And that's what we're going to talk about day 3.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
And so it's starting at 8 Eastern. Is that correct?
So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's going to be 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time each day. Okay. We're going to go for at least 2 hours. Day 2 is getting through those X's and O's takes a while. So day 2 might be a little bit longer. But I'm gonna squeeze as much as, again, you can't teach the entire thing because there's just so, and again, it depends on what skill, where you're at. If you're year 1, you're going to get a lot here. But if you want to take it to another level, it takes a lot more time. We're going to get as much as we can in the 3 days.
Yeah. Okay. So is it going to be interactive? Can I ask questions?
Oh yeah. So you have to be, so we're holding it, and we've talked about this a lot. So we have a private Facebook group. It's a secret private Facebook group. So when you go to teachhoopsprinceton.com, you get put in your name and email. I'm going to email you, and there's going to be another page on that website. It's going to tell you how to request access to this Facebook group. You're going to get in there, put in the email that you signed up with, and we'll approve you and get you in.
Okay.
We're also going to, once you get in, you have to get registered. So I can email you, because a lot of coaches don't have Facebook. It's what we're finding out.
Okay.
And I tell you what, they had to browbeat me to join Facebook too a few years ago, but I was one of those guys too. But I've got it and I love it now. But if you don't have Facebook, we're going to also stream it on YouTube. But if you don't sign up and register, I can't send you the YouTube link, because that's going to be private as well.
Okay. But are you going to be, so this is a good question, because I haven't even talked to you about this. So I'm just going to ask right now. Are you going to take chats only in Facebook? Or are you going to take chats on both?
Yeah.
Do they do chats on YouTube Live? I don't even know if they do.
Yeah. So we're going to get real techie here, and we're going to lose.
Okay. That's okay.
Yeah. I've got a software that will let me stream it to both places. Now, if I do one or the other, it'll let me see all the comments in the software.
Okay.
I think
Perfect.
it will let me see the comments from both. If it doesn't, I have a second computer
screen that you can do it. I know, because I know if I'm on there, I'm going to have questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We might have to do something like the last 15 minutes. I might have to Skype you in or something and have you read through the questions, and then we'll go and answer. We might be able to do something like that too.
Oh yeah. I just think there's going to be, like, I think that's what makes this great, is that you're going to be able to answer questions in real time.
Yeah.
Because I think people think they have questions, but the questions, it's like being a teacher. The questions you think you have at the beginning and the questions you have an hour in are going to change.
Exactly. Once we start going through, and I'll have that other monitor up. I'll have it real big. So if I can't run it through my software, I'll have both windows up. So I'll see the questions. And if I'm on the board teaching, when I turn back and look, we'll teach for a while. We'll pause and ask questions, or I'll scroll back through and we'll go back and look at all the questions.
Okay. And then if I'm new to the Princeton, can I do this?
Oh yeah.
Are you sure? Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of coaches have been asking about, because of COVID, and they haven't had time to work with their players. And of course, so it's September. Now I know in Ohio, practices start first week of November. I don't know
it's the middle of November, optimistically, in Wisconsin. Yes.
When's your first game? Middle of December?
No, our first game. So I think the 16th after Thanksgiving is when you can play. I tend to push it back. So end of November, early December is when. But we're one of the later state tournaments. We're like the middle of March.
Okay, so let me just ask you. I'm curious about this. So your first practice is second week of November, and your first game can be a week later.
10. I have to have 7 practices or 5. I never do it that fast.
Oh yes. Yeah. It's Ohio. So we would start the first week in November. We would be able to get almost 4 weeks of practice in before our first official game. Yeah, no joke.
Oh my God, no! I get like I got to make cuts. I do 2 a days. I have to make cuts, and then so that's why I was asking about the Princeton is if I have 7 days of practice, can I put in enough to be effective and learn so we can move on? That's my question.
Yeah, and actually, we're going to talk about that. I think I'm going to be able to squeeze that in on day 3. So day 2 is a busy day talking the X's and O's. I have some pre-made practice plans, and I put the entire offense in 7 days. Now, if you're new, you're not going to put the entire offense in 7 days, but you're going to be able to put in what you need. So I put in all 4 of the core sets: low post, chin, point, and open.
Okay.
But I put 3 low post options in. So you have low post screen away, low post corner, low post cut. We have point screen away, point over the top, point down the middle. We put all of that in. We put open in. We had a lot of wrinkles, misdirections, a lot of counters, and there's a lot. But if I can put all of that in 7 days, I can get you to run chin and open in 7 days, or low post and chin, or low post and point. You can easily get that into 7 days. And I tell you what, one of the hangups is coaches will say, well, how do we break it down? How do you turn it into drills? And that's a fun topic because it's something Princeton also does differently than a lot of other teams is they don't do drills.
Don't give that away. That's a golden nugget, man. You got to tune in to hear that.
We'll talk about that then.
TeachHoopsPrinceton.com.
You get me going here. We haven't done basketball all summer, and you just want to keep going.
I know. All right. So what would be your last bit here as we kind of end here, Coach? Any advice? Obviously, it's 2 o'clock. It's Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
And it's teachhoopsprinceton.com. You can sign up. Anything else that you want to
sign up, get in the Facebook group if you have Facebook, and most everyone does. I think we've got quite a bit. I think like about 75% of the crew that signed up so far have gotten in the Facebook group. I'll send a couple other emails. If you don't have Facebook, but your wife or your husband does, just send them to that page and register and get in for you, or your kids, if you want your kids' account to get in. I mean,
kids don't have Facebook though.
Yeah.
If you were live on TikTok, then
that's right. Now
we're all different. All right, thanks, Coach. We'll see you on Tuesday.
All right, see you, Steve.
Bye. Okay, good.